What's up, all you he-males and Shasha Banks males? Because she's fucking horse face. P3 podcast show coming at you pretty soon. We got fatty mashed potato Irish boy, handsome McDevil good looker, and the roly-poly twins, because they weeble, they wobble, but good Lord, I've seen them both fall down. Stick around, show's coming.
You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver.
What the hell is that?
Podcast.
Evening or morning, because, you know, for all you weird idiots who listen in the morning, oh my gosh, I almost tripped over my own foot and fell down. This is the Pittsburgh Poop Driver podcast. We drive the poops straight into your ear canals, because have you heard the show? Come on. Yeah, I'm one of your stupid hosts, Alec Ransom. I haven't seen an IWC show this weekend, so I'm back to hating everybody.
Yes.
You all stop listening. You're the worst. Give me some $49.99s. We also have, the other guys here. Who cares about them? Show's over. Thanks for listening, folks.
I love it.
Anyhow,
I love Salty Ransom.
We've got one of our nepotism sponsors rolling up in here.
Yep.
It's the Tiger
Uppercut.
Bomb Tom.
Yep.
That was the best intro ever. I hope they continue to go that well.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. Let the salt flow forth today. I'll tell you, man.
It's coming. It's gonna be a real hurtful show.
Oh yeah, very much.
We've also got the man, the myth, the beef, the legend.
Wow, thanks for the intro, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't watch any wrestling this week, so
Show's over.
show's over. Christmas is canceled.
Shut it off.
Boat's leaving.
Show's over. Shut it off.
Shut it off.
The folks
Christmas is canceled. We haven't even gotten through Thanksgiving. Calm your tits there.
It's an old reference. It's an old reference, but it checks out.
Christmas is canceled. What was that from? It doesn't matter where it's from. Oh, you see what I did there? That was a rock.
Oh.
Yeah. That was a rock quote. It doesn't matter where it's from. Come on. All right. And listen, last time we did this podcast, it was great because we were missing. Oh, hell, I forget how to do this anymore. I've done so much I've gone numb. How does it go?
Tag me in. I gotcha. Hot tag in. Team Salt and Pepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, last week we were absent one reigning, defending.
That's right.
Undisputed cruiserweight champion of the P3 podcast, Poot the Bard.
Baby, how are you guys doing?
Salty.
No,
Salt,
tag back
salt and
to
peppery.
Ransom.
I heard all about it. Hey,
I'm not.
Packed full of flavor.
I'm not
full of
salty,
flavor,
but I'm not, excited either. So we'll see. We'll see if the salt spreads.
That's why you're bland.
So how much?
That's why you're bland beef.
Bland and mild like you usually are.
Oh, bland beef. So let me ask you a question. How much
Yeah.
MSG is in you guys?
Oh, tons right now. I bet. I don't know.
Listen.
Do you think I read the ingredients on what I eat? Fuck no.
I need you to move on and stop questioning me on our FDA approval. It's coming. So just wait. Shut up about it. Don't talk about it.
Duly noted.
We're
Hey,
never.
you guys get us
we're
into
never
here. By
going to
the
be
way,
FDA approved.
Beef, good job not watching any wrestling this week. Proud of you. And
I didn't either.
I did though.
And I did too, Tom. So it's going to be you and me carrying these two schlubs as always every single week.
God fucking help me.
All right. Well, I will be right back. I'll let you guys take care of the intro. I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
Boy, this episode's getting better and better. Yeah.
Well, let's.
Hey, listen.
Since you're on a roll, why don't you thank the sponsors?
Oh boy, I don't want to. Listen, hey everybody, check out our sponsors that do stuff for us, which is
Tag.
So check out our sponsors. We've got Casual Gaming Dad. He plays video games.
I do.
So go watch him. Go listen to him. Go buy shirts from him, especially the P3 podcast shirt that you can buy on Casual Gaming Dad's page of the Gould Gaming
shop.
Herpy Derpinsons.
Hey,
So yeah, go get that.
We actually had somebody. I actually had somebody message me specifically about the P3 shirt because they were.
Shut up.
No, I'm serious. They actually they wanted to buy, they wanted to buy one.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. I don't know who you are, but I want to thank you so much for buying for wanting to buy a fucking shirt.
Hold on.
Settle down. Good Lord. You're like a guy that's never touched a tit before. Holy
I know,
shit.
right? Chasing the hug, Beef. Always chasing the hug. Hang on.
That's right.
You know what?
That's great.
That would be Pat Shannon. So thank you, Pat.
Oh, what a nerd.
Wow. Hurtful.
Stop listening.
Our one true fan and Ransom's out to just demolish him.
The only person that I know of that has bought P3 merchandise. So, you know, I'm gonna take that 25 cents of royalties after it's whatever, you know. No, I'm joking. Whatever it is, that'll go back into funding this fantastic cavalcade of misfits.
Just a dumpster fire of a listening show.
Yes, it is.
The other person I want to
you know what? But it's our dumpster fire. It's our dumpster fire. So
it's the worst. So Beef, why don't you thank the other one?
Yeah, man. We definitely you're not that bad, man. We definitely want to thank Sean Tischler and everything that he has done, specifically in getting our name out there, and definitely for bringing IWC to the masses, and especially to our faces. You know, we. Two of us had never been to an indie show, and the other two of us had been probably a decade since we've been. So, you know, to be fair, we probably would not have gone had Sean not have been our sponsor.
That's true.
So we are so thankful that he had, you know, brought that to our attention. So now we can enjoy the goodness that is IWC. Follow them on Facebook and check them out. And Sean has let us know that there is going to be a future Clayfield show coming probably in March or April of this year. After the snow has settled and, you know, people aren't going to wreck driving, you know, 3.5 hours to the middle of nowhere. But I digress.
Right. Oh, by the way.
Listen, real talk here for a second. No, shut up.
No. It has to do with the sponsor.
Yeah, me too. So why don't you just go burn one and let me do me, okay?
I wish I could.
Ladies,
go ahead.
Ladies.
Just let me be me. Why can't you let me be me? I'm an individual. I'm a unique, delicate flower. Let me be me. Not S in the D here, not S in the Sean D, but he did a tremendous job getting everything set up and rolling for that Clearfield IWC show.
Yeah.
Once again, back on the IWC bandwagon here. Fantastic. Best. Yeah, it was. It was a moment of light in a dark, dark wrestling world that I live in. Thank you, Sean. That was a great show, and we very much appreciated you hooking us up with the front row tickets. It was an event that I will not forget.
And Sean also has a group on Facebook, IWC Clearfield, and if you want to see what's going to be going on in the Clearfield area, if you're anywhere near there, or if you just want to, I don't know, for whatever reason, join a group about IWC chat. But it's going to be more specifically for what's going on in Clearfield. So I'm sure once Sean has those details ironed out, as far as when the next event is coming through there, it'll be posted in that group. So go
stop bragging, Sean.
Listen to Tom punching up on the fly, coming up with a great way to sponsor Sean. Thank you so much, Tom.
That's what I fucking do, Beef. I spice it up on the fly.
And you are the master of segues, so please give us a segue.
Hey, guess what we're going to talk about, guys? We're going to talk about wrestling. Haha, segued.
Yep, there you go.
Burn! Burn!
Nailed it.
Yeah, I don't have anything to talk about with wrestling, so you guys go ahead.
Honestly, I don't know what you want me to segue to first.
Let's talk about the drunk Flair flop.
There you go.
Let's talk about the drunk Flair. So I haven't had a chance to see it, but I have read numerous reports. Tom, why don't you regale us? Because I think you were the only one. Well, you and Poot, but Poot's, you know.
So basically, in typical Ric Flair fashion, as of the last, how many years now, I mean, I know he's had health issues and stuff like that, so I'm not ragging on him for that. But man, either he just does not have the ability to cut a promo anymore, or he was just a little sauced, and I can't tell which, because he was definitely a little slurry and a little distracted, because he was kind of talking to people in the crowd too and stuff like that. He made some sort of comment to somebody who's he's like, I knew your mom, and I'm like,
That
What?
crotchety old bastard was
Exact-
so drunk, it was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Now, look, I
it was
watched a
fucking
clip of it,
embarrassment.
and I can't tell. I've seen Ric Flair promos from like years ago, not like on-screen promos, but like, you know, when he would be at like, I don't know, Q&A events, things like that, where people would record, and you could definitely tell drunk Flair. But drunk Flair in that environment seemed different than slurry, discombobulated Flair from last night. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, he's well documented with enjoying the sauce, but it didn't seem like drunk Ric Flair from, you know, all those different Q&As that I've seen where he's been hammered. It almost seemed like kind of like just mentally out of it Ric Flair, but I could be 110% dead wrong. It just seemed a little bit different.
The dude is in what, his 70s, his 80s, right? Like
70s. I think
70s?
he's 70. Well, no, but he's in his 70s.
He's got to be older than that, man. If he's only 70 years old, like, fuck, the business has a hell of a toll on the body, which we know. But I mean, you know, Ric Flair, since his return back in the early 2000s, he's really kind of, I think, lost a step. But he's still Ric Flair, so you still give him the benefit of the doubt. You say, okay, well, it's just Rick, you know, he's had an incredible legacy, so you kind of give him a pass on a couple things. You know, if he was in fact stoned, hammered, whatever you want to say, if he was in fact out of his gourd, you know, I think the real issue is that he really needs some help and not to be trotted out in front of, you know, audiences just for a blood money show. I think that they need to really kind of help him fix his life as opposed to, you know, saying, oh, hey, Rick, we need you for a Saudi Arabia show.
That's another reason why I think it might not have been alcohol related, because everybody has seen when somebody comes out to the ring who is inebriated, whether it's booze or drugs. I mean, I'm sure you've seen Scott Hall do it before. Jeff Hardy in TNA, good Lord, that was bad. And you know that Ric Flair has a shotgun mouth. So that's another thing that leads me to believe that maybe it was just a decline in overall health and not drunk. Because I don't think they would have let him gone out there. Was that the right way to say it? I don't think they would have let him gone out there. I don't know. It sounds weird. I don't think they would have let him out of the curtain. Yeah, I don't think they would have let him out of that curtain drunk to go down there with a live mic knowing that he can just veer off course at any second. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're much, much more careful with that kind of thing. So I don't think they would have let him gone out there drunk. And if he's that visibly slurring his words, I don't know how he would have been able to be composed backstage and then goes out to the ring and is all, you know, sloppy Sally.
Well, but the other thing you got to remember is that, you know, Vince has done a lot of unseemly things in the name of these blood money shows. So,
well, all right, that's a fair argument.
I mean,
that's fair.
Pushing out a 70-plus-year-old legend, a septuagenarian, who is, you know, probably well sauced, and saying, just go out there and entertain him. I don't think that's beyond Vince's capabilities. And I mean, you know, I think Triple H probably should have a say in it, but he probably doesn't because, again, Vince sees dollar signs and he's like, go make it happen.
Speaking of Vince and dollar signs, how funny is it that a few weeks ago or a month ago or however long ago it was, we were on this stupid podcast talking about freaking, you know, Ric Flair and his possible lawsuit against the WWE and being blackballed, not being back, you know, not being allowed back, and Charlotte going to get punished for it. And now all of a sudden, bam, back on TV. There he is. The man is no wonder they call him Slick Rick. He can find his way into any hole.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually thinking the same thing. You just kind of took the words right out of my mouth. How quickly the tides can change in the world of wrestling. Just the smallest little thing. And you know what the really interesting thing is that I don't think any of us heard anything through the rumor mills and the dirt sheets about anything getting settled or anything like that so how
It
quickly
just kind of
and how-
dropped off the face of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like how quickly and how easily something just can get kind of swept away if they really wanted to.
Well,
Oh,
when
yeah.
the great Archduke Bishop, whatever they have, King over in Saudi Arabia tells you that they want Andre the Giant and Randy Savage, and you clearly can't deliver Andre the Giant and Randy Savage. You do the next best thing, which
Yeah.
I
Vince
ironically
counter
that's
offers with
better.
Hogan and Flair.
Hogan and Flair. People from that same time frame, big names. So again, the power of the almighty Saudi dollar goes a hell of a long way, at least with Vince McMahon.
Do you think that's what happened? Do you think that those Saudi Arabian people were like, hey, we want, this old name, this old name, this old name, because they think that that's still what's going on, and Vince was like, hey, how about we bring Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair over? Like, do you think that's
why
what
not,
happened?
Man? Why? I mean, Hogan has been blacklisted for the last 5-7 years, ever since he dropped the N-word.
He's been back though, like, hasn't he? This isn't his first time back.
No, but they've tested the waters every now and again. They kind of dip their toe in it, but we're also very quickly to withdraw. This is his first kind of real extended focus, and then obviously Flair is going to be Flair, and that whole discussion aside, they are if you build a Mount Rushmore for wrestling, and I think that'd be a great conversation starter. But if you build a Mount Rushmore for wrestling,
that was tough.
Those two guys, I know, right? One of those two guys is gonna make it, if not both of them, depending on who you talk to. So, like, to have those two, arguably two of the biggest names of all time, headlining the show that they aren't too keen on the newer stuff, it's a win-win for everybody except for people with common decency and morals. So,
hey, I want to do a quick pause here, real quick. We can come back to the Saudi show or Drunk Flair or whatever, but since you mentioned it, before I forget, because I am having a few of the beers tonight.
Beers.
Yeah, I do want to do this little tidbit real quick. So, is Poot even here? Is he still here?
Oh, he's here. He's just muted his microphone.
Okay. I want to know who would be on your wrestling Mount Rushmore from like 80s, 90s, 2000, and today. One person from each of those eras. Who are the four people that you put on the wrestling Mount Rushmore?
I got this one pretty easy.
Go for it.
So 80s would have to be Hogan because he kind of brought it mainstream to everybody. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Flair is a legend in his own right, which is okay. I got to tiptoe this carefully because I'm not promoting the Saudi show. I'm not going to watch it. The fact that they're trotting these two out here and the WWE still has to rely on them or the Attitude Era to put anybody over nowadays or get ratings nowadays. Instead, they use them the wrong way and don't give the rub to the younger talent, but that's something altogether separate. But Hogan brought it mainstream, so I think 80s would probably be Hogan. 90s would be Stone Cold. The 2000s, I mean, I'd probably have to say Cena, as much as people probably really can't stand him, or he's the most polarizing man and blah 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 whatever. He kept the things going. He kept it going for a good bit of the time there in the 2000s. And current, I would say I don't know. I mean,
it doesn't have to be somebody from today, but like, I don't know, like mid 2000s, from like 2010 to now.
Actually, you know what? I take that back. Let me go back one. Well, no, okay. Hogan, Austin, Cena, and Y2J, because Y2J spans all times. He is, much like Salt and Pepper here, a timeless classic. So
timeless classic.
Yes.
Beef, who are you going to throw on your Mount Rushmore of wrestling?
So here's the thing. I literally have two, because there's one for a Mount Rushmore of wrestling and one for a Mount Rushmore of entertainment in wrestling.
Oh, okay, all right.
So if we're talking entertainment, it's Hogan, it's The Rock, it's Cena, and it's Reigns, because those are your 4 guys who are faces are everywhere. If we're talking wrestling, we're talking Savage, we're talking HBK, we're talking probably CM Punk and Seth Rollins.
Oh my. Well, okay, all right. So I'm not going to do one for entertainment. I'm just going to do one for wrestling. So mine would be 80s would be Flair, because I really think that in the 80s he could have wrestled a broomstick, like straight up like actual wrestling. He could have wrestled a broomstick and made it entertaining, and probably would have lost. Because, let's face it, Ric Flair lost most of the matches he was in, but damn it, if he wasn't, one of the, best pro wrestlers of all time. So I'd say Flair. I'm going to go with my boy HBK. For the for the 2000s, I'm going to say Eddie Guerrero. Because wrestling wise, he was the man, never missed a beat in the ring. Let's face it. When he was wrestling, the dude never missed a beat. He was damn well spot on. And then for today, I will say probably Jericho.
So that's a really good Mount Rushmore. So we're saying 80s, 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s today?
No, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and then 2010 to now.
Oh, this is easy. In the 80s, I'm going to say it's easy to no offense to you guys who picked him, but it's Ric Flair. I mean, you could say,
how dare you?
To be perfectly honest with you, you could even say Ric Flair into the early 2000s. You could.
That's true.
But and you could say Hulk Hogan. I'm going to
wrestling
go
wise,
with,
but I don't think I'd say Hogan. Entertainment wise, yes. Wrestling wise, no.
For the 80s, I'm going to throw Macho Man Randy Savage. I'm going to say Savage for the 80s. Granted, he was coming up, but he had something that not a lot of other guys had. He had so much kind of flash and, well, pardon the pun, flair that that was kind of isolated to guys like Ric Flair or Nature Boy Buddy Rogers or Adrian Adonis when he was doing the Pretty Boy Adrian Adonis thing, right?
Okay.
So we have Macho Man. Then for the 90s, man, I'm really going to have to say, oh man, that's tough for the entire 90s. I'm going to say Bret Hart.
Oh God, Branson's having a stroke.
I know, Ransom's going to have a stroke.
You immediately called him to have a stroke.
No, hold on for a second. So I'm going to say, because Bret Hart, he was so popular into the early 90s, he helped carry through the kind of not so good time of the whenever it was a lot of the career characters and stuff like that, you know what I mean? He through the lean years, he was the one who the kids loved, drew in the kids and helped them get through that to push the place forward. And yeah, it eventually bit him in the ass with the Montreal Screwjob and him getting a big head on his shoulders. But he was pervasive, man. Everybody knew Bret the Hitman Hart. It wasn't until the late 90s that Shawn Michaels really, really rose to prominence. Really became a true household name and part of the wrestling zeitgeist. Now, for the early 2000s, I think I'm going to have to go with... Oh, man, this is also really hard. I mean... It's hard not to say John Cena. It's really hard not to say Cena. Because he was, it's rare that someone like him comes around, like a Hogan or a Bruno Sammartino or something like that. And Now, for today, I'm going to go with Kenny Omega. I'm going to go with Omega. He's so good in the ring. Everything he touches turns to gold. And he had the foresight for the Bullet Club and for AEW to make AEW happen and use and take and grab that proverbial brass ring. So that's what mine would be.
Now,
I'd like to jump off that if I could. Go ahead, Tom.
I was just gonna say, I mean, keep in mind, like whenever I was making my stuff, don't get me wrong, like Hogan's wrestling ability was shit, you know. But
yeah,
just as far as like, when you say like
household names.
Thank you. Yeah, household names that I'm saying, like, despite their wrestling ability or despite their impact on entertainment, like they were like when you talk about wrestling in the 80s. Even to somebody who doesn't watch wrestling, they know who Hulk Hogan is, or they know who Stone Cold is, or they know who John Cena is. You know what I mean? Yes. Like that's kind of what I was going based off of. But I do like all the other suggestions that you have there. And it's the thing is like nowadays it's so hard when you start getting into the conversation of like greatest of all time or stuff like that, because you do have a lot of people that that are really, really up there in the conversation. But go ahead, Beef. What were you going to say?
Yeah, so since honestly, there's not a lot happening in wrestling right now, as far as like the weekly serials go. Like, yeah, you got the Velasquez Lesnar thing, but we beat that to death. Poot, you brought up a great point, and I want to touch on this because I think this is interesting. As is your one, yes. Your Mount Rushmore pick for like now, Kenny Omega. 2 years ago, without a doubt, I agree. Like, that guy is like the face of, maybe not the face of wrestling, but like the guy who I pegged to be the future. But since he lost to Chris Jericho at what was the name of the event?
Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing. Since he lost to Chris Jericho, I think AEW has dropped the ball with Kenny Omega so hard. This guy, so as good as they're doing with Jericho, and that's all Chris Jericho, because he's a fucking golden goose, man. He's gonna keep laying these eggs for you. But Kenny Omega should be, by all accounts, the face of your franchise. He's got the look, he's got the talent, he's got the mic skills, he's got the brains. But it's almost like they're cutting off their nose to spite their face with him and their buck. Where they're not necessarily giving them the rubs that they should have just because they're like VPs.
I understand what you're saying, but I think honestly now seeing it develop, I think it's for two reasons. They're not doing that with Omega to make him the absolute face and make him the initial champion and stuff like that. First of all, Jericho has name recognition, so he's helping them with the casual fan. Second of all, Omega, I think he has the wherewithal, along with the Bucks and Cody, to go, okay, if we make Omega the champion, first of all, everyone's predicting that. Second of all, it'll be like, oh, the owners are pushing themselves, and that looks bad on the company. Third of all, Omega is going to look really, really good being an underdog, being like, man, he was this big top star in New Japan. Now he's in AEW, and it's even his own company, and he's just not doing great. So he has to kind of prove himself again, and that's really cool to see kind of Omega rebuild himself. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I hear you. I just, I feel like, so there's the old analogy in sports that you ride the hot hand. If you bench a quarterback and the new one comes in and he's on fire, conventional wisdom says you should put the guy who's better in, but you got to ride the guy who's giving you the best chance to succeed. And again, I'm not saying that that's not Jericho. I think that Jericho is a wonderful pick for the top star of the company. And you're 100% right. He's going to get you name recognition with all the people who are flipping channels and go, oh my God, is that Chris Jericho? But, just like 2 years ago, Kenny Omega was lighting the world on fire with his matches with Kazuchika Okada. and basically matches with anybody. He was turning out 5-star matches left and right so as to earn the title of the best bout machine. And I don't think that that's necessarily and I'm not just talking about the booking of Kenny Omega. That's part of it. But I think that they're kind of hamstringing him with his style and the length of matches. For example, the Omega versus Pac match, which was to make up for the Omega Moxley match not being there. But the Omega Pac match, I felt, was probably the biggest letdown on the All Out card.
I think it's because it was
that
rushed.
match to be. Yeah,
It was rushed.
It felt like they only had, maybe 13 to 15 minutes. I felt like that match probably could have taken 20, 25 minutes, give them a good, solid story to play out, and then let that happen organically. But you're 100% right. It was rushed, and that's what I'm saying. I think that they're kind of hamstringing him.
Well,
And even on Dynamite, you're not seeing a ton of Kenny Omega, and when you are, it's Moxley's in his shadow. So,
did you watch him versus Janela on Dark?
I didn't. I have not watched any AEW Dark yet.
I haven't
my
either.
God.
So
If you have any doubts about Kenny and what they're gonna do with him and everything like that, my God, you need to watch that match. It is stupid good. Stupid good. AEW Dark is fantastic. It's
I have no
really
doubt.
fun.
Do you think that the whole, I don't know, Jericho winning the first AEW world title or AEW title, whatever it's called, the way I see that is they're putting that on an established veteran, a guy who, by all accounts, after everything that he's done, should be able to roll into your company and win the world title. Look at everything that he's done. I feel like that's probably, that's the reason why they did that. And then, with Kenny, I don't know if they're starting over necessarily with him, but I feel like with Kenny Omega, he's gonna be the AEW champion. There's, who on earth is ever going to dispute that? That's going to happen, but I feel like they want some build up with him. You want to build him up, not just be okay, AEW's here, Kenny Omega's your champion. But bing, bong, bang.
Well, that's
Kenny Omega seems like a guy that they want to do a build up for,
and that's a good thing because that would draw a lot more doing a build up with him. Absolutely,
that would invest me a lot more in him than it would. Okay, we're going to introduce the AEW Championship, and whammo, it's all of a sudden on Kenny Omega.
Yeah, exactly. It's that climb up the mountain.
Yeah,
but it feels like
it gets you to invest in somebody who isn't necessarily a household name for fans that aren't a hardcore wrestling fan or know the indies or know New Japan or anything like that. Where Jericho was somebody that was, again, already a household established name, the smart thing to put the title on him in the first place. Now, when you get a chance and you get somebody emotionally invested, because Kenny Omega has that personality that he wants you, that it's easy to get emotionally invested in Kenny Omega. Here's a perfect example. And I've said it before about different heels in the business. I have heels when we were at the IWC show, we were chanting for Mandime. Mandime has some sort of, he just has that certain it factor where I'm yeah, I want to know more about him, or I want to cheer him or boo him. He garners some sort of reaction from me. There's other heels in the business like Bobby Lashley, who I could give two shits about. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't have any sort of presence that wants me to get emotionally invested one way or the other. Kenny Omega does. So that's my theory on that. But yes, a build up with him will definitely pay off in the long run. But
here's the thing, and now I don't know how much Being the Elite, their YouTube show is canon, or how much is bleeding in, because I only catch snippets of it. But what I've seen of the last couple episodes, and really with what's going on with Kenny Omega, it really feels like they're tuning him up for a heel turn, which is I'm 100% on board with what you guys are saying. Let's break Kenny Omega, build him up from the bottom. Fine, great, I agree. But if they push him, if they, because I think that the Moxley match, I think that he's probably going to be the one who's not getting the most cheers. I think that Moxley will get the most cheers during that match. So I feel like maybe they're setting him up for some sort of a heel turn, which I feel would be a horrific mistake at this point, while adding. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, because Kenny Omega does need the depth to his character, and I think that Kenny plays a better heel than he does a face, to be fair.
To be fair.
So you think he plays a better heel to a face, but you don't want him to turn heel.
Right, because to you guys' point, to Jens' point, this whole build-up thing only works if he's an underdog babyface. And right now they got that going on with him with his losing streak and everything else. Like they have that set up in place. So they could easily go that route and it would be fantastic. But they could also go the route where, you know, he loses a bunch, he snaps and becomes a heel. And I don't think that that's best for AEW business right now. Even though I think that, yes, he does play a better heel, I think that they need to face Kenny Omega to win the title at some point relatively soon, so that he can establish himself as the face of that franchise, and so that they can give him the kind of matches that he really excels in, which are the ones that which are the journeyman matches that'll go 20, 25, 30 minutes.
Yeah, but I mean,
so why
you gotta also take into consideration, Cody's even said it, and I understand that to a degree. I agree and disagree with with JR's statement. In when Cody talked about having faces and heels, he said he didn't want that before they started getting on TV and stuff. He says we don't want to have these defined baby faces and heels. And JR is like, well, I tried telling him, like, you got to have that at some point, because you got to have a protagonist and an antagonist. But you also have the shades of gray, which Kenny could probably do. He could. If they bill him as a heel at some point, he would probably end up being like an Adam Cole, where he's a heel, but everybody fucking loves him. You know what I mean? So, like, I think that's probably the best example that I can use currently right now. Look at the Undisputed Era. Heel faction has all the gold. How many people still fucking chant Adam Cole, baby? Fucking everybody does. So I see where you're coming from, Beef, and I agree that if you're going to do an underdog buildup, yeah, it works better if you're a quote-unquote face, but they could very easily just stop and stop on a dime and have one show. You can have some sort of scenario that changes somebody from face to heel or heel to face in an instant. All it takes is a simple quote-unquote betrayal or some sort. You can make that happen easily.
You just got to have a bigger heel betray him.
Exactly. And who's a bigger heel in AEW right now? Who's a bigger heel in AEW right now that could betray Kenny Omega if need be? Jericho or anybody from that faction?
They could still do the whole, underdog Kenny Omega chasing the title, but what's to say they can't do that a little down the road? Why do they have to do that now?
Exactly.
Like, why does he have to be the one where they do that now and he's the one that takes it off of Jericho? Let him be the 4th or 5th AEW champion. I mean, what does it really matter if, they do this sort of heel, bad guy, swarmy, whatever turn, whatever you want to call it, with him? They could do it now, ride it for a while, and then
giggity,
make the clear switch back to him as a good guy, and then start that underdog, scrappy chase for the title at that point.
Well, my concern with that is the same concern I have with them not pulling the trigger with Finn Balor. These guys have been around for a long while. They are not getting any younger. And I think that in both cases, Balor and Kenny Omega, both of them could make arguments for being like the quote-unquote face of a franchise if done right. So, and I'm not just saying that because they're both Bullet Club leaders. Wait, was Finn in the, yeah, Finn was a Bullet Club. What am I thinking? But yes, I mean, so,
can't you be the face of a franchise without being the champion?
It's an interesting quandary, isn't it?
Can't you be the face of the AEW franchise, but Jericho's your champion. I mean,
That's fair. That's a fair
I'm
point.
not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be a what's the word? Like,
Tag in.
no, I'm not trying to be like a, contradictory dickhead here,
Contrarian.
but I'm not trying to be that. I'm just saying, like, can't Kenny Omega be the face of your company, but just not hold the belt?
Well, perfect
wonderful
example.
point.
Perfect example would be Roman Reigns is the face of WWE right now, but who are the champs? Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar. So
I mean, it happened with Cena too. Like, he was the face of the company, for such a long time, even after he didn't have that championship anymore. It was still, when you thought of John Cena, you're WWE, you thought of John Cena, vice versa.
yep, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean that's a good call. Good call. I had not thought of that. So that's a wonderful point. Yes, sir.
Team Salt and Pepper bringing the flavor to your face hole, beef.
I guess,
Timeless
right?
classic.
So I don't know.
Speaking of face
Tom,
holes,
yes,
beef.
give us a segue, Tom.
I got no fucking segue. I was gonna say, speaking of face holes, why don't you open yours a little bit more and segue us into something else, beef?
Okay, great. Well, since we're just kind of shooting off the cuff here, as we normally do, just a real quick thought, because now that we're talking about Cena, it's getting my synapses firing on Cena. How much?
Ew.
So him disappearing. So he's been in the news recently talking about how he doesn't feel like he'll ever truly retire from WWE. He'll be a guy that comes and does like spot appearances and things, and probably a match here or there, which I'm 100% fine with. It feels like there's a lot more goodwill to Cena now that he's gone versus when they were shoving him down your throat every fucking like 2.5 episodes. So you would think that they would like learn their lesson from that, right? Like now that when Cena comes back, it's always like a big ovation and people really appreciate what he's done and everything else. Like you would think that maybe that would kind of make a mark with Vince and say, hey, you know what? Maybe we're doing this Roman thing the wrong way.
Nope. I don't think he'll ever get that. I honestly don't. Because it happened with Cena, and it happened with Roman. People booed anytime his music hit. It was a chorus of boos. He announces that he's got cancer. He goes away. He comes back and announces he's beaten cancer. I am back. And for 2 to 3 weeks, it was cheers for him. Yep. His music came out, and people loved it. They loved to see him back, the conquering hero. He beat the biggest opponent ever, and he's back. But they went right back on the rails of what they did before, which was shoving him down everybody's throats, and it went right back to the chorus of boos.
Well, and
the WWE is not going to learn their lesson with that. Until Vince is gone. Let's put a little asterisk there. Because Vince McMahon sees the guys that he wants, and he says to himself, these are the guys. They're the main event. They're the stars. And it doesn't matter what the crowd reaction is to them. Vince pushes them because he wants to push them.
So, do you think that the boos were not necessarily because it was Roman and people became conditioned over the years to do that, but do you think it was because people were like, oh, here's an opportunity to reset his character. We're behind him. Do it right. And 2 weeks later, it's like, yep, same old shit.
Well, I think that's exactly what it was.
So you don't
I think if they would have done something different with his character, I think the crowd reaction would have been a lot different. I think if...
Yeah.
And you could fantasy book it up and down, but my true belief is that, if he came back, did that, 1 or 2 week thing where he beat cancer, he's back, conquering hero, and then suddenly there is this vicious and like unprecedented heel turn where he just mutilates. Who did he come back and get all chummy again with Seth Rollins? Is that what happened?
It wasn't Seth Rollins. Wasn't it Daniel Bryan after the whole?
I don't know.
No,
he came back
when he first came back, it was Seth Rollins.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he comes back and he does the whole Superman, good guy, truth, justice, in the American way thing for a week, maybe 2. And then immediately just destroys Seth Rollins makes this ungodly heel turn. I mean, brutalizes him to the point where Seth Rollins has to get taken out on a stretcher. And then he cuts a scathing promo on the crowd. You boo me week in and week out, no matter what I do, no matter who I beat, no matter how good I am. You boo me, you boo me, you boo me. And now all of a sudden you want to cheer me because I come back from this cancer thing? Go F yourselves. And if they would have heel turned him right then and there, I bet there would have been a massive difference in crowd reaction to him. Massive. But it wasn't. It was the same old shtick. It's the big dog. Ooh, Superman punch, spear, 1, 2, 3. Gets up on the ropes and shakes his head like that. Same old thing. And people remember what it was before he went away. They remember exactly what it was before he went away. And now they're booing him again. The same thing happened with Cena. If you go and look back, when Cena was out with an injury, when Cena would come back, he would get a massive crowd pop. His first time back, massive crowd pop. Then it was the same old shtick, same old shtick. Come out, salute, dog tag, kissy. Let's go to work, boys. Run to the ring. Burr, 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 burr. It was old. They started booing him again.
I mean,
So let me. So, aren't they doing better with Roman Reigns now, though? Because they're not immediately putting him in the main event, not immediately putting the title on him.
Yeah,
but
like,
they're doing schlocky crap with him.
Very schlocky.
they are.
It's
You're both
bad.
right. You're both right.
But he's not in the main event. So
They
Can you
are.
define schlocky for me?
Kind of like, like wash, rinse, repeat, cheesy, kind of like, oh gosh golly, we know where this is going. He's the hero. Oh, he's down. Now it's time for him to come back. Yay, he comes out on top.
All right, yeah, fair enough.
Formulaic.
Well,
there
I
you
think
go.
that's one of the things that the smart, I don't know if it's the smart fans, but I think that's the thing that the WWE fans rebel against, is the constant repetition of good guy comes out, yay, good guy gets down, oh no, here comes the comeback. It's the same old thing like with Hulk Hogan. He'd get beat up, he'd stand up, you, punch, big boot, big floppy leg, 1, 2, 3, and then super surprise Hogan face, I can't believe I did it, look at me.
But I think because back then that was easier to swallow is because people didn't know any better, not only about storylines or about what wrestlers were capable of or what kind of storytelling they were capable of, but I think that was a leftover thing from the territory days, because in the territories you hear people talk about all the time how they used to work matches like the same match.
The exact same match.
20 different times over the course of, 2 months.
No,
in different
I completely
places.
agree. I think that's exactly what it is. I think WWE's character scheme is not evolving with the times. I mean, you look at AEW. AEW's character schemes are new, not just the personalities or the faces in the ring. Like the character schemes are new, whereas WWE's, like their match layout, it's the same as it was in the 80s for the top good guy. Same with Hogan, same with Rock, same with Cena, same with Roman Reigns. It's the same playbook that they're using, and you got to evolve your playbook as the times go on.
Why was
Yes.
like, I'm trying to figure out how to put this. Why was it digestible for us whenever The Rock did it, though, but we're criticizing Hogan and Reigns and Cena?
Well, we're criticizing Hogan now. I don't think anybody was criticizing Hogan then.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I think when Hogan was doing it, that was, it was, yes, the good guy has made a comeback and the good guy has won. And I think when The Rock was doing it, it was still in that acceptable range. And now, it's for people who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s who watched since Hogan's era. You know what I mean? Like, you can expect the same thing in a Roman Reigns match as you did in a Hulk Hogan match, and that becomes stale.
It's not just that. I mean, culture itself, and this is kind of a microcosm for the world that we live in, but I mean, everybody's got a voice now with the internet and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and everything fucking else, man. Like, everybody's got an opinion and they're going to put it out there. And like even like for The Rock, the internet was still like in its infancy during that time frame. Like if you go back in time and you put like the internet around and smart marks around whenever Hogan was there and whenever The Rock was there, you would probably get the same like kind of counterculture pockets of booze that Cena got and that Reigns got.
Yeah, you get that opposition.
Because this group of people out there are like, hey, we hate this guy. Really? Me too. Hey, let's all start booing him. Okay. The problem with Hogan is that Hogan was always Mr. America, pardon the pun. He was always the guy that wore the flag on his shoulders, that had the cross on his chest, man. He told you to stay off drugs and to drink your milk, and you could grow up big and strong like the Hulkster. Like, to oppose Hogan, even to say, like, a negative word about him was, like, almost like you were, like, spitting in the face of, like, good morals, which is ironic given what Hogan and Vince were doing at the time, but I digress.
Take your vitamins.
Yeah, like the
vitamins,
character-wise, you were spitting in the face of, like, the American way.
Exactly.
You know, Hulk Hogan was the wrestling equivalent to the comic book Superman. Truth, justice, and the American way.
100%.
You know what I mean? So, like, who is going to root against, back in the day, who's going to root against Superman? When the new Superman comic came out, you wanted Superman to win. You wanted him to beat the bad guy. You wanted him to come out on top. And you wanted to see him standing there in the Superman pose at the end of that comic book. The same thing with Hulk Hogan. You wanted to see Hulk Hogan conquer the bad guy. You wanted to see him come out on top. You wanted to see the comeback, see the punches, see the big boots, see the leg drop. You wanted that. But now, when there's, like you said, beef, if the internet had been around back then, I bet there would have been a lot more dissension and a lot more opposition to Hulk Hogan.
So, I just like the fact I'm imagining Hulk Hogan going, say your prayers, take your vitamins, drink your milk, and get mad about your daughter dating an African-American. Whoa, brother.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm sorry. And then also sitting there, oh, man, I can't believe that's happening. Right, my friend's wife? Stupid Hulk Hogan. Like, you're not wrong. Like, there is something appealing to that. I mean, if done right in today's wrestling, climate, it can be done well. But you have to have a little more drama. It still can be the conquering hero. You wanted to see the conquering hero beat the evil, the evil heel. Mm-hmm. But I like it. It just has to be more in depth. Other than, okay, we're having a match. Here's your face. Here's your heel. Go. But what do I know, right?
I mean, Vince. I think, and that I think you said this, Ransom, that the playbook has not evolved, and Vince doesn't get the fact that wrestling fans, for the most part, want to see back and forth action. They want to see a good paced, 15, 20, 25-minute match, regardless of who goes over. If you put a good match out there, fans will appreciate that. I.e., Drew, I must call him Gulak, McIntyre versus Ricochet last night. Like, McIntyre won, but from all accounts, it was a pretty damn good match. Versus another match last night, Aleister Black versus, Johnny Dadbod.
Who was that? Who was
basically
that?
I have no fucking clue. Basically a squash. Like,
it was.
And the worst part is, like, I watched, and I've been pretty true to my word with not watching too much wrestling, but I watched a little bit of that match specifically, and Aleister Black was not getting a couple licks in. Like Johnny Dadbod was actually beating up on him. If you're gonna book a squash, book a fucking squash. Don't book a perma squash where you let Johnny Dadbod look okay for 5 seconds. No, have fucking Aleister Black go out there, eviscerate the guy, and be done with it. But my point here is that both the squash and the superhero main event face guy are formulaic pieces of history that I think don't work anymore, and that the wrestling has evolved, and I think the fans have evolved, and their tastes have evolved. So you have to cater to that, and that's what I think Vince is missing, the crucial pieces.
Yeah, when you boil it down, it's Vince is doing the same thing with his top stars now as he did with his top stars in the 80s.
Yep.
There's not a whole lot of there's not a whole lot of new plays in the playbook. So I think fans become, I don't know if jaded is the right word, but they get bored a lot easier now than they did back then.
Now,
And I believe that that's the case, is that, people got bored with Cena. People got bored with Roman Reigns because it was the same old thing all the freaking time.
do you think that's a side effect of the advent of like social media, the internet, and having things now?
I honestly don't. Oh,
Part of it.
go ahead then, Beef.
No, and that kind of goes back to my point that we were talking about earlier about the internet being around, about people just being contrarians to be contrarians. Everybody's got a voice, and everybody gets things immediately. Things that we used to have to like go to a library and look up in books to find out, we can find out in 2.5 seconds now. So, I think that's part of it, Poot. I think that people, look at the last topic I was just talking about Kenny Omega getting over now as opposed to later. People want it now, but then as soon as they get it, that it's satiated, and they're like, okay, I'm done with this. Give me something else, and that's tough to keep up with.
Well, and I think that's also one of the reasons why. Can you imagine, especially going to see something like Clearfield X and seeing those guys who are on the indies absolutely busting their asses all the way from Mambo Italiano all the way up to Jackson Argos and Facade. Some of these guys, I'm sure Facade and Jackson Argos make not crazy money, but they probably are enough that's like, okay, I can do this for a living. You know what I mean? Like, I would imagine as such. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But, like, can you imagine how hard it must be for someone who's, like, 20 years old, going to train as a wrestler, or just out of training, getting on the road and having to deal with that mentality of, okay, you're the hottest thing, okay, I'm done with you. Okay, you're the hottest thing, okay, I'm done with you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you build a career on something that, on popularity that's so disposable?
I want to disagree a little bit with that, and I'll cite a few examples, and these are my examples from my experience, and I don't know if they hold true with everybody else. But I don't think the internet is a big. Well, I can't say that. I don't know if the internet is as big of a reason why as maybe Beef said, because like for me, I don't go to a bunch of different wrestling websites and look at stuff. If I see an article scrolling through my Facebook, I'll share it in the group chat, and it's usually like speculation, or rumor, or like, hey, maybe this is happening, or hey, maybe this guy's going here, or hey, did you hear about Ric Flair getting tanked backstage? It's not, crapping on wrestlers and, like, hey, I hate this guy. Oh, you hate this guy? Hey, me too. Let's hate them together. Like, that's not me. I get bored with the same old. The John Cena constant push, the Roman Reigns constant push. I get bored with them. Now, if you look at guys who were around during the internet era that people honestly really didn't get bored with, when they were a heel, they got booed. When they were a face, they got cheered, regardless of the internet. I hate to do it, but it's a tried and true. You cite Chris Jericho. When he was a face and his music hit, people cheered him. There were not crowds of boos for Chris Jericho when he was a face. When he was a heel, everybody was booing. And the same thing with Edge. When Edge came out, when he was a face, people cheered for him. There weren't, cheers over here and boos over here. It was everybody was cheering for Edge. And when Edge was a heel, it was everybody's booing Edge. So I see these guys, and it's like, well, they were around during the internet era, and this didn't happen to them.
Yeah,
so
but
I don't think that I think it's the playbook reason. They did different things with Edge and with Punk, and with Jericho, and they never got looped into that. Oh great, they're back. We hate them.
Well, and you're kind of seeing it, and I could be wrong, but watching NXT, you're kind of starting to see that happen with Johnny Gargano.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. It's there. Like you could feel it bubbling under the surface, and it Man, it breaks my heart because Johnny's so good, but this white-faced baby meat thing doesn't...
It's done. It's over with, man. The only guy who I think can pull off the white-faced baby meat anymore is really Finn Balor, because he every so often taps into the demon. So people will ride that train to get to that stop.
Right.
And I think that there was a long period there between last year's SummerSlam when he beat Corbin, and when I think it was the Survivor Series before. So damn near a year where he didn't have the demon, and there were I won't. It felt like things were getting kind of a little tense with him, and people were kind of losing their patience, because you both are right that the whole, like, I'm the best and I'm a smiling babyface shtick is done, man. Like, stick a fork in it and, throw it out. It's finito.
I honestly
you gotta
think
have depth.
Sorry.
No, I'm just, you gotta have depth, and you have to have character behind it. That's why guys like Edge and, God help me, Randy Orton work, because they don't just do the normal shtick. They play themselves to the nth degree, and that's why they get over so easily.
I think it's a lack of variety, too, in some of these characters. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of variety in John Cena. After he was done with the rapper gimmick and he was on to the white-faced baby meat, saluting, kissing the dog tag Marine, people got really bored because there was no variety. Same with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns comes out, gets up on the ropes, spear, done. There's no variety. When you look at characters who have been successful in the internet age, when you look at Jericho, Orton, Finn Balor, Edge, these guys always had variety in their characters. And that's what kept them fresh, and I think that's what kept people really engaged in their characters. If you look at all the successful characters who, when they were faces, they got cheered. When they were heels, they got booed. They had variety in their characters. The people who are supposed to be faces but getting nothing but booed and crapped on, it's because there's no variety. It gets very stale very, very fast. People want variety. It's not that people want instant gratification. I'm sure some people do. But people want variety. Look at Daniel Bryan. He's another great example. People cheered for Daniel Bryan when he was an underdog, when he was a face. They wanted him to win. And even after he won, they still wanted him to keep winning. But then when he turns heel and he's the, freaking hemp champion or whatever,
I love that.
People booed him.
By the way, good job buying that.
Booed.
Good job buying that belt on 2K20, Tom.
You're welcome, Poop.
But, people were supposed to boo him, and they booed him because he had variety. You got to give people the opportunity to have variety. And if you're just going to hamstring somebody into a role, they're going to get typecast in their role, and people are going to get tired of it.
And even if you try and change, but there are some people who can, again, to borrow that phrase from Beef, ride that wave, and then when they do change, it's like a complete rebirth of their character. For example, Bayley. Like, she turned heel, and
it's wonderful.
The
skies opened up, and there are choruses of angels singing, and it's just, it's exactly what you need.
She is such a good heel. It's disgusting.
See, there, that's variety in the character. How much, and be honest with yourself, or be honest with me, how much would you have loved right back in the heat of things when John Cena was the getting booed all the time, constant smiles, saluting? How much would you have loved to have seen him have a heel turn and just crap on the fans, just be a swarmy heel, do underhanded things in the ring to win? I would have loved it. I would have loved it.
I personally would have loved it too.
It would have been great, and I'm sure people would have gone along with it and booed him and been like, yeah, boo. But I really feel like had he done that, depending on the moment when he chose to make that turn, people would have cheered him.
And there's the opportunity where you could have had your next Steve Austin. That's exactly what happened with him.
Man's not wrong.
He was a heel. He was a heel, and people cheered him because they could. What's the word?
They could commiserate with him, and they could sympathize because he was the definition of like the working class anti-hero for that time. And I think like you still have rumblings of that in today's society too. You have I don't want to go on a political tirade, but I will just say no. I'm just going to say, in the culture of things, would you guys agree that people are kind of like bubbling under the surface, kind of waiting for a revolt again? Like, just
yeah, man, they're waiting for the anti-hero to come up and fight the boss, which is what they tried to do with Roman Reigns and failed.
Yeah.
And what they kind of sort of tried to do with Kevin Owens and had a modicum of success, and now, hey, that's gone.
It's what they had with Punk, and they kind of fucked it.
Yeah.
They sure did. Triple H brought out his golden shovel, and that was that.
Yeah, bring out that golden shovel.
But here's the thing.
Wow, that was really good, Beef.
Yep.
So many times, I hate to say it, to the point that we were talking earlier about things being very formulaic. I think no matter what, any time somebody's character becomes stale, if they're a face, then obviously the way, it is formulaic, but it works. Like, if somebody's a face and they're not getting over, you turn them heel. Look at Alexa Bliss. Look, when she was all sparkly glitter, I'm a little fun cheerleader or whatever down in NXT. Then they turned her heel and put her with Buddy Murphy and fucking Wesley Blake. Oh my God, that was
Great.
the best thing that happened to her.
Oh yeah.
And look at the best example, even way back in the day. Look at Hulk Hogan. He was at the end, near the end of what he was getting up in the golden years of his career. Yeah, he was still a household name, but the whole say your prayers and eat your vitamins, and Hulkamania, blah 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 blah, brother.
Hulkamania was getting stale.
Hulkamania was getting stale, and he turned heel, and that was like the biggest quintessential thing that happened in all of pro wrestling for how long? Like,
a long time.
We still talk about it.
That was one of the most non-marquee, like, okay, this is a thing we do moment when people literally threw trash in the ring.
Exactly.
Like, that was a guttural reaction. That wasn't, we're
Well,
going to an ECW show, so we got to throw trash in the ring. You know what I mean? That was people that were, like, they felt
Legit
betrayed. Like,
That's a prime example of WCW doing something right.
Yeah.
Was what they did with Hulk Hogan.
Let's not forget about The Rock, too. The Rock was a white-faced baby meat, and the fucking fans were having none of it. Die, Rocky, die.
Yep.
Let's not forget Die, Rocky, die.
Can I just say
And
how
I don't understand. I'm sorry. Let me just get this out real quick. I promise it'll be fast.
Go ahead.
I don't understand why.
That's what she said.
Hey.
Vince McMahon, for as insane and as stupid, honestly, as he can be sometimes, I don't know. I don't know how he doesn't look back on these guys and go, hold on, Stone Cold, one of the biggest guys in my company ever. The Rock, one of the biggest guys in my company ever. Those two guys right there are prime examples of things were stale, things were boring. People, like you said, Die, Rocky, die. People did not want to see him come out and slap hands and be all smiley and yay me. People didn't want to see Stone Cold Steve Austin come out and be the ringmaster, blah, blah, blah.
I can tell you why.
They should have been doing this with Cena. They should have been doing it with Ransom. Ransom. Good
Oh!
Lord. They should have been doing it with Roman Reigns.
What a Freudian slip.
I'm already a heel. It doesn't matter.
Turn him face then. Ransom turns face. Holy shit.
I tried that last week. It didn't work.
I thought it worked
It
great.
didn't work.
I thought
It did work out.
It's terrible. I'm much more comfortable in a heel role than I am in a face role. I can't do that.
It's easier to be the bad guy.
To be fair, our viewership was up like 200% last week. So I mean, Ransom maybe.
Where are you getting these statistics?
Fucking YouTube analytics, man.
Beef monitors that shit like it's going out of style.
Well,
I
at least
sure
somebody
do.
does. Holy fuck.
Oh no! He's the Dave Meltzer of the wrestling podcast.
He's our librarian.
Uncle Beef. Oh no.
Uncle Beefy.
Uncle Beefy.
So wait. Can I just say really quick? Can I just say how happy I am we all casually say white-faced baby meat?
Yeah, I know, right?
It makes me
Second
laugh
nature.
really hard.
Put that on a shirt.
Yep. To answer your question, Ransom, it's very simple. Why they didn't do it with Cena compared to why they did it with Rock and Austin. One, they needed to back then. They needed to take chances because they had WCW's competition. They didn't have that with Cena. There was no other competition around. So Vince,
that's a good call. Yeah.
So Vince just kind of put it on cruise control. And two, it's not the Attitude Era anymore. As much as some of us would like it to be or not to be in certain aspects, in the vein of people taking chances with their characters, it's not the Attitude Era anymore. So unfortunately, they're not going to do that, and they can't get away with nearly as much as they could back then. So I mean, that's pretty much, I would say, the two biggest reasons why.
Well, here's now. Something.
On that note, I gotta go grab a drink. So talk amongst yourselves.
Do it, Steve, Dave.
Go on, Beef.
Okay.
Talk amongst yourselves.
So just a real quick thing about Cena though. We were all foaming at the mouth for a Cena heel turn, and there were rumors that it was almost happened a couple times, but had Cena turned heel, would he be the big success that he is now? And I don't think we can argue that he is on his way to being a big success. He's done a lot of movies, he's done a lot of shows, he's very entertaining. But so if you take Cena and you make him a bad guy and have him shit all over these fans, does that hamper his success now?
I say no, because I hate to do it, but I go back and I cite The Rock.
I was going to say, but before you say this, think about this. You may be thinking that people can kind of separate things out, but let's not forget IWC Clearfield, as awesome as it was. Those kind of fans are out there where they can't really separate show versus reality. They think that somebody's being a dick because they're being a dick. So
I think those fans are a lot fewer nowadays than they were back before the internet.
Agreed.
Like, I think the dumb hillbillies are they're the ones that can't separate the whole, like, well, he said a bad thing in the ring, he must be a terrible person.
They took their germs!
They hurt my furlings. I think. Yeah, I think.
Sorry,
I think
that was really good. That was really good. I
think Cena would be a success. I really do, because I think that, it happened with The Rock. The Rock was a face first, and then he became the awesome heel of the nation. Then he went back to a face, and then he was a corporate heel. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So The Rock can do it. And look, as much as you might not like to, say it or whatever, Batista, he's done it. He was a face and a heel and a face and a heel. He left being a. He went on to, star in the, Marvel franchise. Say what you will about his character, in Guardians of the Galaxy, whatever. He's a star of the Marvel franchise. People know Drax the Destroyer. They know Dave Bautista. He's been in a James Bond movie. He's done much more than Cena has done on the big screen. So credit where credit is due to Dave Bautista. He was a heel, plenty of times, and he was able to make that transition over into Hollywood. Not as big as The Rock, but still bigger than John Cena, bigger than CM Punk. So I definitely think that, whether you're heel or face in the ring, if you want to transition your brand into the movies, if you want to go outside of wrestling and get into acting, I think for me, that just shows a wider range that you're able to be successful at. If you can be successful as a hero and be successful as a villain, that makes you just that much more marketable for somebody saying, hey, we're looking for a villain, let's hire Batista. Hey, we're looking for a face, a funny guy in a superhero movie, let's call Dave Bautista.
This is, in a way, like us sitting here and saying what is kind of wrong with these dynamics that kind of persist and everything. The fact that we are having this discussion and that a lot of people are kind of seeing the writing on the wall with it is really exciting to me, because that means that there is a more changes coming in the next couple years, overall.
I think there will, and I think you're right. I think especially with AEW now coming in, and I'm betting that as guys get successful in AEW, having maybe that blended character of Well, sometimes they come out in their face. Sometimes they come out in their heel. I think that just gives people in WWE maybe a little bit more opportunity. But I could also be dead wrong because Vince McMahon is stuck in his ways, and he's going to be one of those guys that says, I don't care what the guys in AEW are doing. You're a good guy, and you're always going to be a good guy.
Well,
doesn't matter if you're getting booed up and down. You're still going to be a good guy, Roman Reigns.
That guy, I'm telling you, McMahon, give it. I know we keep saying it. We've said it how many years now, but give it time. One of two things is going to happen. He will be forced to retire, or the powers that be upstairs will cause him to retire, i.e. he'll die.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, forced retirement, by God. The best kind of retirement.
But I think Triple H understands the difference. Like, I think Triple H sees it and goes, you know, look how long he was a face in DX. After Shawn Michaels left and he was the face of, you know, he was the leader of DX, they were a face stable. You know, people loved DX. You know, they wanted to see their fun antics, this, that, and the other thing. Then Triple H reinvented himself and became the heel. He got rid of the tights. He put on the trunks. He brought out the sledgehammer. And then he's a guy that has been able to transition back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know, he comes out one week, he's with DX, everybody loves him. He comes out next week, he's with Evolution, everybody hates him. So I think Triple H has that vision where he can see variety is good. You know, not just these same old stale white meat baby face characters. White baby face meat. Wait,
white meat face baby face meat face.
So
meat.
So this.
I want my baby meat.
I want my face meat.
And I love whenever there's not a lot of stuff happening that we can have these kind of discussions that kind of like go, you know, between all eras, because I think that these discussions are important. However, I do want to mention, by the way, there is an IWC event coming up next Saturday, November 2nd. Winner take all, and it is shaping up to be a wonderful card, gents. I really want to get down there for it. I don't know if, I mean, I don't think we as the P3 crew are going to make an appearance at this one, but I think we may have some representation. I hope, anyway.
I was hoping to go to it, but I think our schedule here at home is going to be packed up on that day. So as much as I want to go, I don't think I'll have the availability.
I will see if I can afford to swing it, because this is one of those pay periods and the months where like every bill falls on one paycheck.
Yeah.
Yep. I hear you.
The fucking October.
You know, if I'm gonna end up going, it's gonna be a last minute thing. But either way, if you end up going, let me know. If anybody's gonna go, I'm sure we'll hook up in the chats and stuff like that and figure something out. But yeah, it's gonna be a last minute thing if I do.
Oh yeah,
I want really bad.
We'll definitely reconsider that. But I mean, like, this is basically kind of sort of their big show. This is basically their WrestleMania, hence the name Winner Take All. And you have a lot of like really great storylines coming to a conclusion, like the explosion of Team Storm, which is going to be Argos versus Rhino, obviously at the main event for the IWC Heavyweight Title in a Extreme Rules match, but also in RC Dupree versus Jack Pollock, who actually cost RC Dupree the title of the high stakes title. You're going to see the Mandime versus Johnny Patch for the Super Indie title. You're going to see some Impact stars like Brian Cage coming back to face, I believe he's facing Andrew Palace, and then you're seeing the Impact Tag Team Champions of the North take on the IWC Tag Team Champions, the main event, in a literal winner-take-all match for both sets of titles. The main event, by the way, are super, super good. I'm excited. I really want to see them.
Cage Palace is going to be nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, and even the one guy from the six-man match that really stood out for me, which was the Country Hammer, Jamie Jamison. Yeah, Jamie Jamison, easy for me to say, taking on Dan Hooven in the high stakes title match on the pre-show, should be phenomenal. So,
I bet that's a really good match.
Yeah, man. Lebanon Dawn versus Jimmy Vegas, who ended up winning the Battle Royal.
Can we make Lebanon Dawn the official P3 podcast wrestler?
Huh?
Like,
right?
Please.
I don't know, man. Like, I'm a pretty big mark for the champ, dude. Like,
I am too.
Well,
but like,
yeah, but here's the thing. The really what the one that should represent us would be Bulk Nasty, because
No, he's the one who would represent Ransom.
Yes, I can identify with him so much. I don't
But
want any
regardless-
part of this.
I don't want to. I disavow all of this.
Why am I here?
You know, regardless,
So funny.
you know, you guys heard us talk about, you know, to our heart's content last week how awesome it was in Clearfield, and you know the shows in Elizabeth are basically what Clearfield was, but dialed to 11. And like I said, this is kind of their big blow off event. So you know, you can expect a night of great wrestling. So that's next Saturday. Tickets available on the IWC website, iwcwrestling.com. You can get your front row seats there. You can get regular floor tickets, and then there's obviously general admission at the door as well. But don't wait, because I'm sure these tickets will go fast. So there's my little IWC plug for tonight. What else we got, gentlemen?
Hey, I want to talk about a quick, just a quick little note of speculation, whether it's way far off or not.
Oh, and after we do that, do we have a Stump the Chumps at all?
We do, in fact.
Awesome.
So, anybody in the wrestling community, if you haven't seen, if you go online, and I don't know where he posted it, whether it was Instagram or Twitter or whatnot, but Randy Orton posted a picture of himself next to some door, and on the door it had Elite on it, and he was just pointing at it and smiling.
Yep.
My man, I was just gonna bring this up. Yes, sir.
And then didn't he tag like
the
a bunch of, you
Revival,
know,
Luke
yeah.
Harper.
Yep.
He
He tagged didn't he tag
Elias.
the Bucks?
No,
I think he did.
He tagged a bunch
he-
of current WWE guys
Yeah.
that, you know, are kind of floundering or maybe even have publicly stated that they want out.
We talk so much about how good like multiple people would be over in AEW.
AEW.
We have never mentioned how good Elias would be over there.
Dude, I had no idea that he was even on the fence, man. But from the sounds of it, it sounds like he may. I mean, and the weird thing is, like, Elias has never been wanting for a push. Like, they've always seemed to have his back. I mean, he's never really had a title, but he's always been like a guy who's had a spotlight, literally
No,
and figuratively.
He's had a spotlight, but
it's a goofy
like, can
spotlight.
you think of a memorable match that this man has had?
Nope.
Like, they've either always been real quickies, real squashes, or just,
Yeah.
you know, I think of a Santino Marella match. Like, they've been jokey hokey matches. He's never had a good opportunity to spotlight in a match. And with Randy Orton tagging all these, you know, current WWE guys, quite a few of them who have expressed interest in the past or have even made it very publicly known on Twitter that they want out. With him tagging all those people, it could be one of two things. It could be, you know, it's public knowledge that Randy Orton's contract is coming up pretty soon. Maybe
I didn't know
he
that.
is, yeah.
Oh yeah.
His contract's coming up pretty quick, and maybe he's feeling stale in WWE. Maybe he wants to try something new, you know, and maybe
don't
this is
blame
kind of
him.
like a hint that says, hey, you know what? Maybe I will try to go here.
Honestly, I wouldn't blame him.
I
if
wouldn't
you-
either.
if you-
And another person who I think that we've never talked about, but could you imagine how good he'd be in AEW is Randy Orton.
Oh, he's amazing.
Could you
If you want to
imagine?
talk about a guy, if you want to talk about a guy right now who is a first ballot Hall of Famer, who has all the accolades, you know, he was a blue chipper. He was, you know, second generation talent. He is, you know, what was one of the stable.
He's
Triple H,
third
Batista,
generation.
And Flair. Oh, third.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
excuse me, third generation. He's
no
held
shit,
every
Beef, you
single.
historian.
My bad. He's held every single major title. He's won Royal Rumble. He's won Money in the Bank. Basically, the only thing he hasn't done, he's been Soul Survivor. The only thing he's never done is he's never won King of the Ring. But outside of that,
Hold on. He's never been U.S. champion either, though.
really,
I don't think
Has he been
has.
Universal Champion?
No.
no. But that you can't really consider that because it's been around for a cup of coffee.
That's true.
But my point is that Randy Orton's pretty much done everything that he can do in WWE, and he basically is kind of floundering between face and heel. He's getting kind of the Big Show treatment,
Well, he's.
Which-
Oh, yeah.
Oh wow, he is.
which is rough for a guy like Randy Orton who has every bit of charisma, every bit of like mic work, every bit of in-ring talent.
Oh,
Man,
yes.
like so Randy Orton's been a dick, and for that there's a lot of hate for him, and understandably so. And he's like capital A number 1 white face baby meat
Easy
whenever
for you
he
to
is
say.
right. Whenever he is like a face, sometimes like he gets to that point where it's like, oh my God, Randy just turned heel, and he does, and everybody goes nuts, and it's great. But
he just is a heel. Randy Orton is a
he
heel.
is.
The end.
So I mean, like you put a guy with that kind of package against
Giggity.
some of the guys in AEW now.
Thank you, Poot. I was just about to say.
Wait. Wait.
Go on, Beef.
My point is that I think that he would absolutely flourish in AEW with some of those great matchups. Forget about it. Even Orton versus Cody, like they have a past, and I think that you could ride that fucking match and get probably ideally 3 or 4, maybe 5 pay-per-view main events out of Cody versus Orton alone.
Easily. And they would all be very entertaining. And I'm willing to say probably blockbuster matches. So the thing with me is with this Randy Orton thing, I feel like it's one of 2, maybe 3 things. It's Randy Orton doing that just to be a dick to the fans because he knows that the fans would lose their mind. Like, oh, Randy's going to go to AEW. Randy goes, ah! People would go nuts over it. And then he resigns. He's like, no, I got you. You're all idiots. It's that, or he posts that, tags these guys in it to maybe give WWE a little bit of a wake-up call to say, oh, he's thinking of leaving. Maybe he's thinking of something new. Maybe we should give him, something fresh to do here to keep him interested and to keep him here.
They're not.
Or it could be.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Or it could be, a genuine threat. It could be Randy Orton has finally decided that, even though he hasn't publicly come out on Twitter and said, hey, I've requested my release or I'm not going to resign, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he's gotten to the point where he's saying to himself, you know what, I do want something new. I want something different, and I'll go to AEW for a little bit. And I'm Randy Orton. If I want to come back to the WWE, they'll have me back. Because
Moxley.
Let's face it, they would.
I don't.
Yeah, just like Moxley, do everything good on the way out, and then leave yourself a bridge to come back. Sorry, Pete, go ahead.
Yep.
I don't.
Yep.
I don't think the reason that they wouldn't really do anything with Randy Orton, like they're not doing anything with him except carting him out to get a pop or whatever, what have you. The reason they're not doing that,
squash Ali, whatever.
Well, I mean the squat. Well, doing stuff like that, like kind of like. Not like out of character for Randy Orton, but it's kind of like clearly like, all right, what's the point of this? You know what I mean? They're not. I don't think they want to put him in a program that's super high profile or for a title because they're like, Randy, how old are you? You don't got much left in the tank. Because in WWE, unless you're a Ric Flair or an Undertaker or somebody like that, where they go,
or a Triple H,
or there's tons of money pouring out of this person. Unless there's all that money to be made with their name and their legacy and everything like that, you know what the problem is? They have like, there's like a limit. It's like maybe like around 36, 37, where they just go, you're okay. We'll keep you around just in case we need you for X, Y, or Z, but we're never gonna make you a big deal. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's a very good possibility.
I feel like that's the case. Like, they just keep him around like this, and it's depressing. Oh, by the way, really quick to bring up before we get into hot tag trivia and Stump the Chumps. Really quick, did you guys see what happened after Raw this week?
No.
So apparently,
I heard about it. Yeah.
So apparently, they had a Universal title match. Not just a Universal title match. They had a Universal title match with The Fiend in a cage.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Stop.
In a cage. Yeah. Fiend in a cage, off TV, off Raw.
Same red light effect. Same red light effect that they had at Hell in a Cell. So
Yep.
Oh god, I'm starting to have an aneurysm already. But
and
continue.
wait for it. I'm gonna pop that aneurysm. You ready for this?
Oh fuck.
Seth Rollins won clean.
Oh man.
Seth Rollins won clean, and it was him crawling out after multiple stomps. It was kind of the same thing without all the garbage at the end of all the stuff piled on top of Bray. It was he crawled out of the cage, like out the door. Yeah.
I'm so happy that I
Just-
don't have to buy you three idiots steaks in a year. So happy.
Just how you want to make your big time champion look weak and shriveling and crawling out of cage, not winning in it, not winning by count or by pinfall or submission. No, he's crawling out the cage to escape. What? Man, they have botched Seth Rollins something fierce. I mean, you can
They're
say what you
botching
will
the
about
Fiend.
you can say what you will about the Fiend, and you're not wrong. But Seth Rollins, man, and yes, he has shot himself in the foot several times this year. We've been over that. But man, they have fucked him good and proper.
They're fucking the Fiend too.
Oh,
This
hardcore.
dude should not be in dark matches. This dude should not be losing clean. In my opinion, this dude should not be losing at all. You want to build him up as this big, scary, just this apocalyptic thing, and you have him lose clean in a dark match. Can you imagine what their match is going to be like in Saudi Arabia?
No, and I don't want to because I'm not going to fucking watch it. I don't care. Fuck Saudi Arabia.
Wait. I can't wait. No matter what happens in that match, it's going to be garbage because it's either going to be you make your champion look like a weak pile of shit, like Beef said, or you make the Fiend look like a weak pile of shit, or you do another one of these stupid, ref calls it matches, or some goofy thing happens where it's like, oh no, with hokey finish. And it's just going to be trash. They've botched this so bad.
And that's why they're doing this in Saudi Arabia, so that the U.S. fan base cannot turn their back on it and go, oh man, this sucks, and boo Seth Rollins out of the country.
They're not going to boo him there, but look
That's what I'm saying.
Think of the heat whenever you come back. They're going
to do the same thing. They're going to do the same thing they did after Hell in a Cell. They'll keep Seth Rollins off a show or two, and then bring him back as some sort of a sympathetic babyface. Maybe he'll help Rusev get his wife back. Who knows? But they're smart about it. Give them this. Like, they may put themselves in the worst positions, but once they have fucked everything up, they go, okay, how do we get on damage control for this? And they're pretty good at damage control.
The goal is to not have to do damage control.
Yeah,
but they're good at damage control because they're always in damage control mode, because something is always fucked up. So they're always like, okay, how do we fix this?
Yeah, but no, I won't give them anything. I won't. Because doing what they're doing is literally like shooting yourself with a gun in the foot and going, well, I have a bullet wound to the foot. I could put a Band-Aid on it, or I could go to a hospital. Yeah, you're making the best choice by going to the hospital, but you still shot yourself in the foot. And then not only do you do that, 2 weeks later you come home and you go, I wonder what this does. You shoot yourself in the other foot and then go, well, look, I'm going to do the right thing and go to the hospital and not just put a Band-Aid on it. No, you're still stupid. You still made two terrible decisions, and no matter what you do after those terrible decisions, you still ultimately made a terrible decision.
WWE shoots themselves in the foot and immediately goes, why would the fans do this to us?
Yeah. Why are they shooting all over our product? Why are they booing our guys?
Goddamn Sparky fans.
Yeah, right.
It's just like that meme with that guy. What the hell is his name? With the hair, yeah.
I know what you're
why would the fans do that? Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, Eric Andre.
Eric Andre.
Yes.
Why would the fans do this to us? Like, it's the same fucking thing.
It's going to be disappointing. No matter what way you slice it, it's going to be disappointing because look at what they're doing here in the States already. This Saudi Arabia show with The Fiend and Seth Rollins is going to be a letdown.
Yes.
Maybe they'll pull something out, but I can't see how they can.
No.
I honestly can't.
No, they won't. They won't. And again, I'm trying not to be super negative because I have more or less removed myself from the product. I'm trying to watch, bits and pieces here, things that are important. But for the most part, yeah, it's there's no easy way out.
Hey, is NWA Fruity Pebbles doing anything? Yeah, Power.
Dude, it's fun.
Are they doing anything?
It's fun. Like, that's all I have to say.
I haven't seen any of it.
Isn't it on today? Doesn't it come on like Tuesdays?
So. Apparently, our boy, Mr. Anderson is was on last week, and he's open to coming back. And apparently, Nick Aldis looks like $1 million. So,
it's funny really you mentioned that. That's another guy that I would really mark out hard, seeing him go to AEW.
Who, Nick
if
Aldis?
Ken Anderson If Ken Anderson could find his way to AEW, I would lose my.
Oh hell yeah, he'd be a perfect fit.
Man,
that'd be huge.
I was gonna say though, and I understand I'm kind of going back on my point here, but he's getting a little long in the tooth, isn't he?
He is, but they could bring him in for somebody to kind of like, I hate to say it to compare it to WWE standards, but like a part-time program or something. Because I mean, look at Jericho. Jericho's the oldest person they have besides Tully Blanchard. Fuck, who cares? But
fucking Tully Blanchard. Oh my god, he's so terrible now.
I know exactly. I already touched on that, anyways. But
what?
No, I mean. Tully Blanchard just fucking up the
messing up the spots all over the place.
Messing up the spot, like should have been a blatant disqualification in front of a ref, but it wasn't.
Oh yeah.
That thing. But no, I mean, Jericho's up there in age, but he can still go. So I mean, if Anderson can go, and they can find a spot for him creatively, why not? I think he would fit in well.
Let's be real though. Ken Anderson is not Will Ospreay. Ken Anderson has not been like riding or Ricochet. He's not been riding his body real hard. Like he's probably still got quite a few years left.
I was gonna say, and Jericho is no Will Ospreay either, and Ken Anderson.
Exactly. They've taken care of their bodies. Like and no offense to Ricochet or Will Ospreay, they're amazing. But man, like they are literally like pulling the car out of the lot and going 110 miles an hour for as long as they can, and then whenever the transmission blows up, they go, "Huh, didn't expect that to happen."
Yeah, well,
yeah, they have a lot. They have
how
a
could
lot
I do
lower
this to my
shelf
body?
life.
Exactly.
Like,
how could my body give up on me like this?
And just like and just like seeing a car going 110 miles an hour, it's like, oh man, that's awesome. And you're watching it's cool because it's not your car. And it's like, man, that was cool to see. And then it blows up and you're like, oh man, that sucks, but it was still cool to see. So I mean, yeah, it sucks for those two, but hey, you know, at least they're making memorable matches now. Well, at least Ospreay is
while they can.
Poor Ricochet. Yeah, exactly. While they can.
All right, what do you say we get on to some hot tag trivia and such?
Yeah, we've been digressing all over the place. Yeah, let's stump those chumps. Our friend the Midcard Maniac, who was always the guy that gives us the stump the chump stuff, but feels free. All of you out there listening,
we appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
Is that what we appreciates about them?
Oh, hey, how you doing there, keyboard?
Take about 10% off of their Tiger Bomb. So get involved, guys and gals. Send us an email. Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast at gmail.com. Send us your Stump the Chump questions, answers. I don't care the format. Just send me something. I don't care if I can participate. I just want to get something from somebody that's not the Midcard Maniac here. So,
not that we don't appreciate you, Midcard Maniac.
Right.
We definitely appreciate you.
Exactly.
I appreciate you a little bit less after you referenced my wife's fantasy football stats last week.
Speaking of which, I'm sorry, I got to interrupt, Beef. Ransom, do we have an idea of who that might be?
We're not going to talk about it right now.
Damn it.
We're not going to pull the mask off on the air.
Come on.
After we're done.
Match.
That's P3 Podcast Dark.
Oh,
don't
God.
worry. Whenever I'm 100% sure, I will I absolutely blow this person up on the show. Don't think I won't.
So
as soon as I'm 110% sure, I will.
All right. Well, let's discuss afterwards. But go ahead.
So the Stump the Chumps and well, I'm not going to give that hint. So the Stump the Chumps question this week: Rico, the former manager of Billy and Chuck, had a WWE career lasting about as long as Ransom enjoying anything. Wow, that's true.
I know exactly who it is now.
Before entering wrestling, Rico competed and won on what quote-unquote athletic game show?
Oh,
American Gladiators?
American Gladiators, yeah.
Dude, he's way too young to be on American Gladiators.
No.
You think it's American Gladiators?
It's either American Gladiators or American Ninja Warrior.
No, it wasn't American Ninja Warrior.
No, it wasn't that. What's the...
Most Extreme Elimination Challenge.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, maybe.
Well, okay. Is it asking, what did it say when he competed on that show?
It did not.
I mean, honestly, I would think that it was probably in the earlier part of his career, and even still, or he could have done it in between stints or something. I'm saying American Gladiators because that's the only athletic show that I can associate with him back then.
Yeah, it had to have been American Gladiators.
So Rico here, but here's the timeline though. Rico was probably in his mid to late 20s during like the '05 run of Billy and Chuck.
No, you're high.
You don't think so?
You're high.
Hell
He was
no.
older.
Okay,
Yeah, he's
I
in
mean,
his 50s now.
Huh. Well,
Yeah.
I'll be damned. So I guess American Gladiators could be a good a good point. I mean, if that's what the group consensus is, far be it from me to be a dissenter. Yeah, right. So we're voting. So we're voting American Gladiators then, right?
Yup.
Yeah.
All
Pitter
right.
patter.
Yeah, I feel bad for healing out last week because this is again the Maniac. I feel bad for healing out last week. Hell in a Cell in the draft caused me to act irrationally. Us too, mid card. Us too. Your answer is that Rico competed and won on the first half season of American Gladiators in 1990.
Fuck yeah.
There it was.
Wow.
Tom, you're my boy.
Yeah. You're my boy, Blue.
You're my boy, Blue.
You guys nailed it. That's I can't believe Rico was that old. Huh.
And
Okay,
now,
well, there you go.
watch me fail miserably at Beef's hot tag trivia question to me this week.
What's
I'm
the
sure.
order here?
We said it earlier.
Whatever.
I forget. It's
Yeah.
hold on.
I was busy.
Oh, it's okay. Well,
I see.
you know what? Let's have Ransom start off. It goes Ransom to Beef, Beef to me to Poot, and Poot to Ransom, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. So
All right,
you
Ransom.
guys
Go.
good for that?
Can I kick it off?
Yes.
So
Go.
So I'm going to Ransom. All right, Ransom. So someone we absolutely love to hate on this podcast is Jim Cornette, and we've admitted, motherfucker, we have agreed that we give him a lot of shit and we talk a lot of shit on him, but he does make valid points, right? He does.
Oh, yes.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
More
like
often than
absolutely.
not, yeah.
We've never taken away his credibility in the business and what he's done and everything. We just think he's a dickhead, and that would be if he was anything else. But Jim Cornette has had a long storied career of being a very, very good mouthpiece and a manager. His very first protege in his managerial career was whom?
His very first protege.
Yep.
What do you mean by protege?
The person that he was the mouthpiece for and the manager for. What superstar, and this is not indicative of saying that it's someone in WWE. It's obviously not. But who was the first person basically in his managerial career that he like took care of? His first protege, the person he took under his wing to manage.
Oh, boy.
This is a bit of a deep cut, but I think it's a really good one.
Can you give me a hint?
Oh, man. Okay, I'll tell you this. I'm going to give you a big hint. I'm going to eliminate basically half the field. Not a man.
Ooh.
Oh.
Right?
He managed someone who wasn't a man. Who the hell?
It's going to...
Now, is this somebody I would have heard of not watching
Oh, yes.
old territory days back then?
Oh, yes. Yes, yes.
It is.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Female wrestler who...
Oh, yes.
No, that's not a female.
Sounds like one.
had
Rest his soul.
tits like one.
Oh, whoa.
Oh,
All right.
boy. Well, ruined. Show's over.
See yourself out, Tom.
I stopped the recording. Are we supposed to stop the recording?
See yourself out.
See yourself out.
Hint. All right, so he managed a woman.
Yeah.
She's somebody I would have heard of. How the hell old back that had to have been a long time ago.
It was.
Damn. I don't think it wouldn't have been like Moolah. Would it have been Moolah?
Good question.
She's pretty ancient. Shit, she's the only one of the older ones I can think of.
I was gonna say, wait, is it mate? Are they both dead or just one of them?
They're both.
I think they both
Yeah, they're
died.
both dead.
Yeah.
At this point, they both died. I mean, it wouldn't have been like a Lundra Blaze because that would have been. She would have come along way too late for that. Shit, the only old lady I can think of is freaking. is freaking Moolah. Who the hell else? Who the hell else is that? Damn it, Poot.
I have a guess if you can't get it, Ransom, and I don't know why. I just
I have an idea bouncing around in mine too.
I don't know. I wanna say Moolah because I'm really struggling to think of anybody else that old. What? Shoot, what was her name before she was that? Shit. Before she was Sensational Sherry Martell. She's pretty old. Ooh. Oh, damn. Oh. I'm going to say Sherry Martell.
Is that your
I
final
don't know why.
Is that your final answer?
I don't know. It's Sherry Martell or Moolah. I don't think it was Moolah. I don't remember where all Moolah wrestled at. I'm going to say Sherry. I'm going to say Sherry Martell. Sensational Sherry.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alec Ransom is the king of pulling shit out of his ass. It was Sensational Sherry Martell.
Wow.
Yeah,
baby.
look at that.
What territory was that in?
I don't know. I just found it. It was when I was looking for a question, and I was like, that's a good one. I don't think he'll get that. And the second you started saying like Moolah and Mae Young and stuff, I was like, oh, fuck, he's going to dial it in. And he did. He did.
Boy, I'm going to have to go and look that up now because I wonder what territory that was in. That had to be in the territory days.
It was. It absolutely was.
Honestly, if it wasn't her, my next guess was going to be Wendy Richter for some reason.
I was thinking
she was
Leilani
another one I
Kai.
didn't think of. Oh, that's another one I didn't think of. Damn.
Did you say, Beef?
Leilani Kai. I don't know why that jumped to mind.
No, but Ransom, good. Just Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
How are you not a detective or a crime scene investigator? Like, seriously.
I'm too fat.
Dooley,
what does that have to do with being a crime scene investigator?
Absolutely.
Don't you have to be a cop first? I'm too fat to be a cop.
No, you don't have to be a cop
man,
first.
Look at fucking Sipowicz, man. He was the size of a dump truck, and he was a great detective. So I mean,
Jake and the Fat Man.
Look at
Fat Man was a
exactly.
detective.
Look at Columbo.
Exactly, Columbo.
Oh, man,
my
if
God.
I could be Columbo.
Oh,
that'd
that's
be
it.
great.
We're
Careful with
calling
that
you
reference.
Ransom Columbo. Columbo's his middle name.
Ransom Columbo Nasty.
Yeah. Ransom.
Oh, that's gross. All right, so it's my turn to ask
Yeah,
Pete.
good job.
I gotta dial up my.
Shit, man.
I gotta dial up my browser here. Hold on. I know I have it saved somewhere. There it is.
Beep, boop, boop, boop.
Okay, Beefers. So since you were all in tonight on the ICW, so I'm gonna ask you an ICW question.
Or an IWC.
I mean, either one. You got to figure it out.
Aren't there is an ICW though, is there not?
There is. I think that's the Insane Clown Posse Wrestling. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's not that. I don't know them. It's a two-parter. Go figure.
How about that?
I want you to tell me how many IWC champions there have been.
Wow.
Well, hold on. Let me rephrase that. How many different times there has been an IWC champion crowned? So it could be repeat champions, but like, so how many different times the ICW championship, has changed hands? And I also want you to name me the last 5 IWC champions. I don't know why I keep saying ICW. Last 5 IWC champions, and how many times the belt has changed hands?
Okay. So I got at least the last 2 as Jackson Argos and then Wardlaw. Beyond that, I'm a little sketchy.
Well, you've always been Beef, but
oh, that's true.
That's what we
honestly
appreciate about you.
Is that what you appreciate about him?
I think
Valid.
Rhino was. I think Rhino was in the last 5 too somewhere. It wouldn't surprise me. Because I know Rhino has held it. So title changes, I'm going to say 72. And the last 5, I'm going to go, Argos, Wardlaw, Rhino. I'm going my head. Was Chris LaRusso IWC champion? I don't think he was. He was Super Indie, but never IWC. Fuck. I'll say Bulk Nasty and Jimmy Vegas.
Okay, so for the sake of time, I'm just going to give the answers instead of letting everybody else think about it. Hang on, I just peed. I got to zip my fly up here. Oh, there we go. Speaking of nasty, here we go.
Get your dick out.
You super overshot the title changes. There have been
Of course
40.
I did. Okay.
40 title changes. And they went in most recent to, I guess, less recent, in the last 5 champions. Jackson Argos, Wardlow, Jack Pollock, back to Wardlow again, and Andrew Palace.
Andrew Palace. Huh?
Right on.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
All right. Well, that brings me to my question. It's super short and succinct for our very own favorite sponsor. And yes, I will. I think we can call him our favorite sponsor at this point. Casual Gaming Dad. You've been playing the you've been streaming the WWE 2K20 video game when
and
Facebook
I'll be doing more and fuck the power the B, I'll do what I want. Facebook. Anyways.
We are the nation of domination. Anyway, so I want you to tell me who was the very first cover athlete for the WWE 2K series. Now I'm not talking about Raw versus SmackDown. I'm talking about WWE 2K, which was WWE 2K14. Who was the first ever cover athlete?
2K14. Okay, hold on. Let me think back because I honestly didn't get into the 2K games really at all. So I'm trying to think here for a second. Okay, well, we know this year's. We know last year's was there. See, some of the years have had 2 different people on the covers, but I don't know when that all started. I know 2K17.
Yeah, like reversible. Yeah, last year was AJ Styles. I'll give you that.
Yeah, last year was AJ Styles and also Seth Rollins. Or maybe 18 was Rollins. Either way, 17 was Lesnar.
I know 18 was Rollins.
18.
Yes.
Okay, so 18 was Rollins. Last year's was Styles. 17's was Lesnar. 16 was trying to work my way back. Who had like those good years? Shit. Wait. Okay, so let me think here for a second. 2K20 is this year, but it's technically in 2019. So 2K14 would have been technically in 2013. Okay. CM Punk. Final answer.
Close.
Yeah. Can I take a shot?
Yeah, take a shot.
I'm gonna say, 2K14 was Daniel Bryan, wasn't it?
So
was it Daniel Bryan
he was Daniel Bryan was on a reversible cover. I don't know if it was 2K14 or not. But he was like, because they did a couple years where they did like a reversible cover where there was like the one where like it was packaged.
Okay, but
then you could like get it and flip it. I'm talking about the one that was like packaged. It was The Rock. It was the great one. Yes, sir.
Christ. Get fucked. All right. Whatever.
Tom hates The Rock.
Oh,
I do now for that.
Yeah.
Well, because my only reason for picking Punk was the fact that he left. He quit the night after Royal Rumble in 2014. That was his last WWE match. I was at that show here in Pittsburgh. So whatever. All right. That question was straight up trash fire. Speaking of dumpster fires, Poot.
Oh, dude, you can't bring me down tonight, buddy. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I can. Speaking of dumpsters,
yeah.
I got a question about a long-standing favorite garbage wrestler of mine.
Okay.
Duke the Dumpster Droege. Give me his shoot name.
Oh my.
Oh. Duke the Dumpster.
I'll bring you down a peg.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. That is I know his last name is actually Drozy. I know that. I know that's real, but what's his first name?
Yep.
Oh, is it?
Hey.
Is it? I want to say Steve Drozy, but I don't think that's right. Steve Drozy, Frank Drozy? No.
Bartleby Drozy.
Winchester, Worcester, Herschel, Tabernacle the Third Drozy.
Indeed.
Indubitably.
Mike Drozy? Mike Drozy and Frank Drozy both roll off the tongue for me. Fuck. Or is it like a alliteration? Is it like Daniel Drozy?
I don't know. You tell me.
Fuck, man, this is hard. So I'm like, if you were like, is it like what's his shoot last name? I got that.
Nope.
Frank Drozy sticking him. I gotta just pick one. Beef. Pick a number between 1 and 4.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
2.
Michael Drozy.
I hate you.
What?
Michael David Drozy is his real name. I swear to God, you're looking this shit up. I swear to fucking God.
Yeah, he's not that good.
Yeah, okay.
You're not Ransom.
Can,
You're not
Ransom can go ahead and reason out all that stuff, and it's perfectly believable. But the second that I pull out a name out of my ass, after going through a whole bunch and just asking Pete for a random number.
Yep.
Because Ransom's not coordinated enough to work his phone and the Google machine at the same time.
My
Well,
phone.
Boy, that's super hurtful.
Sorry.
Hey, Beef,
Is
you
Beef
sound
hard
like
to hear, or is that just me?
Beef. You
It
sound like
is.
you're 1,000 miles away there, cowboy.
Oh, fuck. Hold on. I'm gonna log back in. Give me a second.
All right.
Well, professional as always.
Well, now
What a
that he logged out, all right, let's end the podcast. For Alec Ransom, Tiger Bomb Tom, and Poot the Bard. I'm Poot the Bard. Bye.
Yeah.
Suck it, Beef. Goodbye.
Suck it, Beef.
Podcast over.
Hardy fucking hard, you dicks.
Oh, look who's back. It's Johnny Mile Away.
Oh, kid. Oh, I want that to be my indie name, Johnny Mile Away. But spelled M-Y-L-E.
Oh man. Well, no. Yeah, Michael David Drozy was his shoot name, and Jesus Christ. Anyways.
God, Tom's so mad. I
am.
I feel like I should have gone with Frank Drozy if it would have just brought Tom's fucking spirits up. Hey,
It
by
would've,
the
thank
way,
you.
did you guys see the clip? Speaking of 2K20,
No.
did you guys see the clip that someone posted of like the glitches
The
and
Charlotte
like
botched.
the one that's gone viral is the Charlotte ref bot?
No, I didn't.
No,
Oh
what
my
happened
god,
there?
I'm gonna
Send-
Oh
send-
my.
hold
Send
on.
it over the group chat because people have been asking me about like somebody was asking me about the glitches and I was like, no. I was like, I downloaded an update today, like before I even started playing.
I
And,
fucking-
What does it do? Can you describe what it does?
okay, so
Yes.
we'll say it's.
Did you send
it's-
it in the group
We'll
chat?
say it's NSFW. We'll put it that way.
So basically, the ref is like glitched into like a permanent like Indian style sitting. He may be glitched halfway through the map, but basically you can only see his upper half, right? And
Yes.
Charlotte locks in the figure 4 and then goes into the figure 8, right? But the ref is like in there trying to call the tap out, and him and Charlotte are like configuring themselves in like a very like almost
Suggestive.
69-ish pose. It's terribly funny.
Someone
Please-
already
Oh, poor
added.
Charlotte.
Someone already added the Brazzers logo to it.
Somebody
Oh, God.
send that over the group chat, and I sent something over the group chat as well. But
I'm trying to figure out how to share it. I'm gonna go to YouTube, see if I can find it on YouTube. Oh my god, that shit tickled me to death, dude. Me and our buddy Eric will send
Oh.
pictures back and forth of like innocuous pictures that we just add the Brazzers logo to.
nice.
Oh, it's one of my favorite memes.
That's pretty funny.
I typed into Google, by the way. I typed in WWE 2K20, and the first thing that showed up was Charlotte Flair glitch.
Wow. They really botched that. Speaking of botching.
Where is it?
Well, speaking of botches, while Poot's figuring that out, Ransom, why don't you go ahead and thank the sponsors?
Oh, Lord. Speaking of botches. Casual Gaming Dad. Catch him on the Facestagrams bookings. You can book him for your local events at casualgamingdad.internet.webbrowser.metacaf.
Gav, what the fuck are you talking about?
/Zanga.
Zanga! Oh my god.
That's a deep cut. I haven't had a Zanga page since God knows
Oh,
when.
I went and
I'm
deleted.
starting one up for the P3 podcast here tomorrow.
I went to my space page while we're at it.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
check out Casual Gaming Dad on the Space Minds on the my pages. No, check him out on Facestagrams, Instabooks. He does good stuff, good shit, good games, good game, everybody. Sean Tischler, IWC, he's doing stuff. He's doing good stuff. Much appreciative of all the stuff that he's roped us into. Super fun event. No matter how salty I get on any of these podcasts, or how much I heal up in this heel character, I can't heal out on IWC or Sean Tischler, because, good Lord, it was probably the best wrestling I've seen in a very, very long time. Also, shout out to the Gould Gamings for the awesome Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast T-shirts. You can see those on the Casual Gaming Dad section of the Gould Gaming website. So go there, get a shirt. Don't care what you do with it after you get it. I mean, wear it if you're a normal person, but do other stuff. Use it as a tablecloth if you buy a super fat version, or put it in your cat if you're one of those crazy cat people.
I was gonna wear the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast shirt to the show tomorrow, but I'm gonna wear my Casual Gaming Dad shirt.
Casual.
Fuck the world.
Oh, I'm definitely repping the P3 shirt tomorrow night.
There you go. Yeah, so am I. Man, wow. I've been so salty this evening, I almost lost sight of the greater good that we're going to AEW tomorrow night. Holy fuck
And
balls.
Yeah, man. It's going to be a great fucking show, too.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of good AEW talk on the next episode, since 3/4 of the P3 is going to go to the old AEWs.
By the way, once again, I will invoke the spirit of Ransom, so I will be the salty one tomorrow night. I will take on that monumental task of being
Shit on everybody, especially people in the crowd. Shit on them too.
I will for you.
The first time somebody sits down next to you that's not a P3 guy, just look at him and go, "Where's my $49.99? Don't you see the shirt?"
I'm going to. No balls. I'll do it.
If you can send me a video, like a very impromptu video,
we'll fucking Facebook Live that shit.
Of you saying to some guy,
shut down.
I want you to send me a video. Fire that video cam recorder McDorder up on your phone and just look at somebody and go, "You see this shirt? Where's my $49.99?" And then walk away. If you can send me a video of that, I'll cover your dinner for the next 3 times you come over here.
Done.
Damn.
Done.
Oh, that's.
I can't wait.
This is going to be a great day.
It's going to be great. Yeah. So if you ever do listen to the show, if you're Bob Harris and you listen to the show, stay tuned for the next episode. There's going to be a lot of good AEW talk coming out of these idiots.
Watch that video, and we'll close out on the chuckles.
Let's do that. I mean, I'm already in good spirits now. I'll wait to watch the video because I'll wait till after we go off the.
Yeah, I can't watch the video on my phone while I'm Discording on my phone.
That's fair. Well, then for Beef the Legend, Tiger Bomb Tom, Alec Ransom,
and the reigning, defending, undisputed, never gonna get it beef, ain't gonna come close again, Tom, Cruiserweight champion of the world, Poot the Bard.
Baby, have a wonderful evening. Motherfuckers.